Hello everyone. A couple of days back, Avenues Supermarts Limited announced its third quarter financial results, which this company runs the popular retail chain under the brand name of DMart. Okay, it's owned by Radhakishan Damani, as many of you might be aware. So in this video, I'll be sharing some highlights from the third quarter numbers and my expectations from the company for the coming financial year. I won't take too much time in sharing all the minute details, numbers of the company has already announced. You can obviously go through those numbers from the company's own website or several other sources. In this particular video, I'll be sharing my inputs in it. Okay, my views on what it has already delivered and what it could deliver in the next financial year. So let's begin. First of all, as many of you know that the first quarter, that is the June quarter of the current financial year, was severely affected by the strict lockdown that government had announced in March, end of March. So the revenues fell sharply during that quarter. Then in the September quarter, thanks to a few relaxations, the store operations were gradually getting normalized, and we see a reasonable recovery in the revenues for the DMart as well as many other businesses, retail businesses. So revenues as well as profits did recover partially during the second quarter, and this momentum was expected to get further recovered in the third quarter, that is the December quarter. And as we all know that the December quarter also consists of several festivals in India. This is generally the best quarter for most retail chains. So it's the same for DMart as well. Third quarter of any financial year, that is the December quarter for any financial year, is generally the best one for DMart. So you'll understand this better when you have a look at the next slide, where I've shared the quarterly revenues progress chart. For the time being, just you should better know that the December quarter is always the best one in the financial year. Apart from the festival presence, I'm sure that the pent-up shopping that many customers were not able to do during the previous two quarters due to lockdown, that also resulted in a few benefits for DMart. That must have definitely boosted DMart's total income by a few percentage points. Another thing that DMart might have benefited from is the troubles at Big Bazaar. Many of you might be aware that Big Bazaar is currently going through a very troubled time. It is trying to stitch in a deal with Reliance Retail, where it will be selling off all its retail business to Reliance Retail, but Amazon has put in a spanner in that deal. It has filed a case against the promoters of Big Bazaar about the deal, and that deal is getting delayed more and more. So this must have definitely resulted in some kind of benefit for DMart, as Big Bazaar is not able to stock all the goods that it used to stock, and because of that many customers might have shifted from Big Bazaar to the nearest DMart store available to them. So definitely troubles at Big Bazaar is a benefit for DMart for sure. So third quarter numbers might have included a part of that benefit too. And we all know that DMart is expert in delivering super efficient sourcing and retailing business model right from the time it started business nearly 18 years back. And since then it has been a benchmark for most retail chains here in India. Now let's have a look at the chart. In this chart, you can see the DMart's total income progress on a quarterly basis. Okay, these are quarterly numbers from December 17 onwards. So the first point that I mentioned in the previous chart, if you see that it had a sharp dip in revenues during the first quarter, some recovery in the second quarter, and now the third quarter is almost back to normal levels. If you see, it is decently higher than the last year's December quarter, nearly about 11% higher than December 19 figure. Okay, so if you see the sharp dip from 6,000 plus crore levels, it dipped to less than 4,000 crores in June quarter, recovered to nearly 5,300 odd crores in September quarter, and now it has reached a new peak of 7,500 plus crore rupees in the December quarter. Now the second point that I mentioned was about December quarter being the best one in any financial year. Now just have a look here. The December 17 figure of 4,100 crores is nearly 6 to 7% higher than the following quarter, that is a March 18 quarters figure. Then again, if you go a little further and check the December 18 figure, it is again higher than the previous two quarters as well as the following March quarter. So it is again the best one in this financial year. Again, the same story in the next financial year. The December 19 figure is again best one in the 4 quarters of the financial year. So it's again expected that December 20 figure of 7,500 plus crores is going to be the best one for this financial year. Obviously the previous 2 quarters were affected by lockdown, but this figure is going to be better than even the following quarter, that is a March 21 quarter. In my personal opinion, I am expecting March 21 figure of around 7,000 to 7,100 crores of total income for DMart in the coming quarter, that is the final 4th quarter of this financial year. Now let's have a look at the net profit progress. Here again, as you can see, the December quarter figures are generally the best one for that particular financial year. In December 17, it was significantly higher than March 18. Again, in December 18, it was significantly higher than March 19 figure. So we can expect a dip in our net profit for the March 21 quarter as well. Okay, here also you can see the December 19 figure was significantly higher than the March 20 figure. So now this figure of 447 crores, a net profit of 447 crores, should be significantly higher than the March quarter number. I am expecting the March quarter number to be somewhere around the 300 crores mark. Okay, net profit of around 300 crores in the coming quarter, that is the 4th quarter of this financial year. Now let's have a look at some expectations that I have for this financial year. Now only 1 quarter is remaining for this financial year and the coming financial year, that is FY22. Okay, so in this financial year, I am expecting DMart to report a total income of nearly 24,000 crores. This will be slightly less than what it had reported in the previous financial year, but we all know the reasons. The first 2 quarters were a substantial, the company reported a substantial drop in revenues. So, but it has recovered significantly in the following 2 quarters. The December quarter was already good, and March quarter is also expected to be better than the previous year's March quarter. Okay, so the total income figure should be somewhere around the 24,000 crores mark for this financial year. The net profit too should be somewhere in the range of around 1,000 crore rupees. Okay, this is decent compared to what the troubles it did face in the first 2 quarters of this financial year. But more focus should be there for the coming financial year, that is FY22 numbers. Now here is what my expectations are. I'm expecting the total income figure to be in the range of 30 to 32,000 crore rupees for FY22. Okay, now this is significantly higher than the 24,000 crores I'm expecting it to report for this financial year. But don't go by this growth figure alone, because this FY21 number was affected by lockdowns, whereas FY22 is expected in the normal course of business. Apart from COVID, this might have FY22 might have reported around 15% to 18% of year-on-year growth. But thanks to COVID, the FY21 numbers are lower, and that's why we can see that the FY22 numbers look substantially higher. But don't go by this growth rate. This is the normal course of growth that I'm expecting from DMart in the long run as well. Around 15% to 18% per annum growth is what I'm expecting. The net profit, FY22 net profit should be in the range of around 1,500 to 1,700 crores. Again, this is significantly higher than FY21 numbers expectations. As you can see, it is around 50 to 70% higher, but don't expect it to continue growing at this pace in the following years. FY21 numbers were lower than normal because of COVID. FY22, these numbers are kind of ignoring any effect of COVID or any effect of any lockdowns in the coming financial year. Let's hope they don't come. On the EPS front, FY22 EPS should be in the range of 23.5 to 26.5 is my expectation. And if you see the current price, the current share price of rupees 2,960, which is very close to 3,000 rupee level, it trades at over 110 times its expected EPS for FY22. Now, this kind of valuation is certainly, I think, way overvalued. For no doubt, DMart is an excellent business with strong growth prospects as well, but we cannot expect DMart to deliver 30% or 40% or 50% per annum growth rates. No, this won't happen. DMart is growing at a measured pace. I am expecting DMart to maintain a long-term business growth in the range of around 15% to 20% year on year. And this is sustainable, means this kind of growth rate is something that DMart can sustain for many years to come. Around 15% of growth. Okay, currently its business size is pretty good at 24,000 crores. It's a pretty healthy business size. So if it maintains 15% or 20% per annum growth, it could be hitting the 50,000 crores total income figure maybe in the next 3 to 4 years time. So this is a pretty healthy growth rate, and for this kind of growth rate, the valuations that the market is currently giving to this DMart share is, I think, way overvalued. Means as per my estimates, I think it deserves a valuation of around 40 to 45 times its EPS. Maybe the 1 year forward EPS also we can certainly give it 40 times its 1 year forward EPS, but at 110 times I think it's way overvalued. Good business, and I mean excellent business, but supremely overvalued.